How could you be late today, of all days?
Been here yet?
No.
Then I guess I'm not late.
Well, you said you'd be home at 5:30.
No, I said I would knock off for 5:30.
I called your office and you didn't.
So you're checking up on me now?
This is just passive-aggressive, Jack. Okay, the kids.
Yeah.
They need a ride to Joel's party tonight. Parents are home. I already checked. And Randall's robotics class, do you see? It's moved to Tuesdays.
I can read. But...
And please, please do not let Kevin and Sophie be by themselves in the basement. They're all over each other. What's so funny? It's disturbing.
You know, the other day I came in, she was nibbling on his ear.
Don't use the word nibbling in reference to our son.
That was the only way to describe it.
Those ears haven't seen Q-tips in years.
No. Time to hit the road.
Look who's here.
What's going on? How are you guys? Thanks for being here and hanging out.
I was also telling Milo backstage that my dad's here, and I don't know where he is.
Where's
Where are you,
Pete?
Dad? Pete? Are you here?
Oh, hey, Pete.
Pete!
That's Lee's father, Pete, and my dad's name is Pete, and I was like, you gotta point Pete out. So there's Pete. That's Lee's father.
Yeah.
How's it going, man?
So the only thing...
Thank you.
Hey, Dad. The only thing that I ask of you this interview is to not make me cry, because I've just cried enough watching it.
And then you like to see a clip like that where Jack and Rebecca are, you know, you see cracks forming and you go, oh no, what's coming?
Yeah. What is coming, Milo? Tell us what's coming.
What is coming? You guys all caught up on the show? Yeah? So is everybody recovered from William's passing? No. That one hurt, didn't it? I know Ron Cephas Jones and Sterling K. Brown and Susan Kalichi Watson in that episode. I mean, that might have been the hardest that I cried while watching the show. I don't really cry for Jack and Rebecca stuff, but I cry for everyone else. You know, seeing Kevin go through something, seeing Kate go through something. But yeah, that whole William thing, that really crushed me. Really crushed me. So I hope you guys are recovered or recovering or soon moving a little past it because there is a lot still to come in the last 2 episodes.
Are we finally going to get to see what happens?
No. Maybe. No, it could be. No, you know, I don't want to entirely say no, but I will say possibly might get a better indication of what happened or will happen or did happen.
We know something happened. That's
no, we all know that something happened to Jack. Yeah. Jack is passed, so.
But you will be a part of the future seasons, correct?
Yeah, Dan Fogelman, our creator, he said to me, no matter what, even though Jack is dead in the present day, that I'm not going anywhere. And that's kind of the nice thing about the show is, you know, when a beloved character like William passes, you're like, oh man, but I'm not going to see William anymore. But, you know, Jack isn't around, and I'm there all the time. So I think the idea that Fogelman really wanted to do was open up the story so that your character and the characters that you guys, you know, grow to love have life beyond their own actual life. So, you know, even though when you do find out how and when and why Jack died, it doesn't mean that the character's gone or I'm gone. It's just you shift direction and tell a different story. Like he equates it to having a family album. You got a family album and you just open it up to a random page. It's so weird not being able to use my other hand. You open up to a random page and you just start telling a story based on that photo, right? So that's the idea, is you're flipping around this family album and you're just telling different stories. And it doesn't mean that the book goes away when you get to the last page, because there's, you know, you started the last page or started the beginning or you opened it right up to the middle. So that's kind of the idea, I think, behind the show, is that, you know, these people, they don't go away.
Well, I should have brought up his cast when he first got out here, but Milo, if you want to tell everyone, he's not hurt. He's not hurt. It was a good surgery.
It was a good surgery. I had some torn tendons in my wrist, and this thing, I could actually use my arm, but this is like a straitjacket, so I don't use it. So I'm forced to actually recover.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm such an avid talker with my hands, and I can't do that right now.
I feel bad.
That's okay.
But
it's your fault, Lee.
Everyone,
Pete.
that's what's going on. So, what has it been like to be a part of This Is Us? It's had buzz since the beginning, and the buzz has lasted throughout the whole season. Tell us about finding this project and being a part of the show and what it's meant to you.
I mean, I would say in the 21 years I've been in front of the camera, it's the best job I've had for a number of reasons. And it doesn't mean, I don't say that to diminish any other work that I've done or crews that I've worked with. Those are all at the right time in my upbringing as an actor. But this one has a combination of an amazing story with a great character, with a great boss, Dan Fogelman. I don't know if you guys have read stories or just are a fan of what we actors get to speak, but I mean, he is at the helm of all of that, and we have an amazing team of writers assembled, and the crew. We just have a lovely crew, and then the cast. You know, we've all been doing it a while, and we all know the job, but I think we also understand that this is one of those special shows that you don't quite cut through the wide group of people and hit every demographic like this show has, and it's inspiring, especially on network TV. You know, it's a show that's built for everyone, and then it's also available to everyone if you have, you know, TV in bunny ears, even if you're like, or if you're watching it online. It's just one of those kinds of shows. So, you know, it's very important to me to make sure that I show up, I'm present, and I do the best possible job with Jack I can. Just make him a real man.
Yeah. And that mention of, you know, being on network television with all these streaming channels and HBO and Showtime, has it been great to be on a network show, like you said, that you can reach many different kinds of people and they don't necessarily have to pay for a subscription?
Yeah, I mean, most of my career has been on network TV, so I've always been a fan of network TV, and you know, I go back to content is king, so it doesn't really matter where it is. I mean, you could watch something on your phone, on your TV, on your tablet, in an airport, wherever it is. It doesn't matter as long as you can get it, as long as you can access it. And I think the trend of saying that paying a subscription for something will give you premium content, I think a show like This Is Us is disproving that. You know, you don't need to pay for anything. Just turn your TV on. Just turn your TV on. You know, it's out there. You know, great shows and great stories and great characters. God, I keep looking. I mean, how cute are these kids?
I know.
And how sweet are Sterling and Susan? And yeah, there's Mandy and I, and then Ron, and these two.
This poster just
Those
makes
guys
you want
crush
to
me.
cry, right?
I know, Lee, don't look at it. Pete.
Like,
Yeah.
and Chrissy Metz,
Wow.
Mandy Moore, Justin Hartley,
Yeah.
Sterling K. Brown. I know you don't get to work with
Susan,
them.
Ron.
You don't get to work with them as much, but I'm sure you get to
Yeah.
cry while you're watching them.
I do, and we all see one another, you know, in passing, as well as when you know, we go out and do press and whatnot, or grab dinners or things like that. But it is a little heartbreaking as an actor, because all I want to do is play with my friends, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't really get to. And poor Mandy, she gets the brunt of everything. I'm like, okay, you got all me. And then Sterling, you know, of course, we had a scene. But Fogelman is a master with his scripts, and I'm sure he's going to create a way over the course of the show, the life of the series, to hopefully put Jack with a few more people that maybe he won't be able to be with.
Yeah, we saw you with Randall, which was a cool psychedelic scene.
Yeah, oh yeah, that was a blast. That was so much fun.
What's it been like for you to work with Mandy Moore? You guys have an amazing chemistry. Does everyone agree? It's pretty steamy, but pretty romantic. What's it been like to work with her? I know she praises you and says that you're the best TV husband around.
She's the best TV wife around. You know, she's committed to her work, and goddamn, she is talented. She's so talented. I'm excited for her as my friend, that people are getting to see what she's actually capable of. You know, so many times actors, you know, you do one job, or you're a musician or whatever, and you kind of jump over into acting, and then people go, oh wait, but you're actually a talented performer. You're really great. And I'm excited for people to see what Mandy's been doing on the show, because I get the front row, first ticket out of the box office performance every time being in front of her. But we've developed this rhythm of working where from action to cut, she's my wife and I'm her husband. And we established that from the beginning. I mean, right when we met, there was an automatic like, oh, I like you. I'm a fan of your work, and I like you as a person. So we had that instinctual camaraderie. But then beyond that, it became, well, how do we bring this couple to life, and how do we honor them, and how do we help support one another in doing great work? Because that's the thing, like, I never want to be good, I want to be great. And I want my co-stars not to be good, I want them to be great. So I'll give anything of myself to her or the kids or anyone just so that, hi. It's funny when something catches your eye and just like, oh wait, they're staring at me. It's okay, now there she is, she's waving. But it's one of those things where I want Mandy to be great, you know? So I'll give her everything I got.
Yeah, you guys are great. You're great together, right, everybody?
Thank you.
So good. What's to come for you and Rebecca? There's been a little bit of the last episode we saw. Rebecca wants to go out on tour, and Jack was going to stay home, but then Jack saw a little flirtation from her bandmate, and then he freaked out a little bit. And tell us what's happening. I feel like there's a breakdown coming or something.
Jack loves his wife, and he loves his kids. He's very simple. Those two things are his life. Those two things keep him together. Those two things, if you can imagine to a man as simple as that, the two, let's just say, screws in, you know, holding him together, one gets loose, or one falls out, or one just kind of goes away, you know, his life would start to unravel. So for the 20 years that they've been together, when you catch up with them in 1995, I think it is, 1995. I get confused on the timeline too. I just go, okay, I'm wearing a goatee, it's the 90s. Oh, I got a mustache, oh, it's the late 80s. Oh, I have a beard, early 80s. Oh, I'm clean shaven, it's... Oh. So it's one of those things where, you know, the couple, they've been together for 20 years. And I think when you have been in a relationship that long, like the only relationships I've had that are that long are family, but they're family. You know, it's got to be different with like a romantic partner. You parent kids, and I think, you know, the cracks are just beginning to form. You know, we saw in episode 15, they got into an argument because Rebecca wasn't upfront about working with an ex from the past. You know, which might have been one of the hardest scenes because I, as a man, I'm just like, Jack, what's the big deal? Okay, guess what, pal? She married you. She had kids with you. She loves you. Just move on, man. But it was also one of those things where I did understand that he was not jealous of another man diminishing who he was. He was worried that it was taking away from his family. His wife going off and having what she says is a career is taking away from his family and the kids and their teenagers and all of this. So you start to see that they're a real life couple. Sure, they're romantic. You know, they kind of have a bit of a storybook romance and life together, but they're human. Mm-hmm. They're flawed. They're you know, they can break. Mm-hmm.
And so Jack has been kind of hanging out in the bar, it seems. What's going on there? Is there something with his drinking that could possibly be in the last 2 episodes that we find out, or is that something that's just more like...
I mean, I think it was a really big moment on the Valentine's Day episode in episode 15 to see Jack get into this argument with Rebecca, with his wife, and then leave and go to the restaurant they were going to eat at. And it was less about the food and the place they were going. It was more, I think, for Jack about escaping and having that drink. And I know we touched on it in the second episode, Jack's drinking. And it's not that he's a bad man when he's drinking. He's not abusive. He's not verbal. He's just not quite present. And I think when you really plug that into the cracks that are starting to form with Jack and Rebecca, like, that's just going to make it worse. It's just going to compound, you know, where they could possibly go in the opposite direction of up and down with the marriage. So yeah, it may be present, probably.
Especially when you
also, but it's crazy. It's funny because everybody talks about Jack's drinking. Sorry to cut you off, Lee. No. But everybody talks about Jack's drinking, and I'm like, yeah, but wait a minute. Go back to episode 5 and look at Rebecca pre-kids, and she was just throwing back shots. She just wanted to party. And Jack was like, hey, you want to have some kids? She was like, no. And he's like, okay.
That's like the stage I'm at in my life, right?
Right.
There's my friend from college, Stacy.
Stacy, you brought him out.
Yeah.
All right, Lee.
They came out for you.
All right.
They didn't come for me.
No way. We did it together.
So how did you get the inspiration, though? Like you said, you haven't been in a relationship or a marriage this long. You don't have triplets. So how did you kind of get into that mindset
Become
of
Papa Pearson?
Yeah.
I have an amazing father, amazing parents. Sorry, I get emotional when I talk about it. My mom and dad are kind, and they're giving and loving, and raised my sisters and I with hugs and kisses and love and a kind of broad inclusion of the world. At the same time, it didn't mean that they were people to be walked all over, like they stood up for themselves and their way of life and their family and all that. And so I saw this very strong family unit growing up, and like a family that I was comfortable being a creative kid and like getting into acting. I mean, acting is kind of a scary business. You have dreams and you see people on TV or on movies or at award shows, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh wait, but I got to go pound the pavement and I got to hear no all the time when you go into these readings and meetings and auditions, and it beats you up. So I had my mom said to me one time, she said, Milo, I don't worry about you. The chances of you succeeding far outweigh those of you failing. You're going to do well in life. I was like, okay, Mom, I guess I'll go do well in life. So for me, the initial conceit, I guess, of course, was, this beautiful script that Fogelman had written. But I had the best possible education of how to be a great dad by my father, who's amazing. Mm-hmm. And I try and honor him and all my other friends that are fathers. And just, like, I've got this photo in my trailer of my dad and I when I was like 3 years old. And before I walk out of my trailer, I look at it, and I wrote a note above it that said, be a good father, and then a note below it that said, be a good husband. It's simple. Mm-hmm. It's really simple, and so that's the way that I approach Jack, is be a good father, be a good husband.
Beautiful story. It sounds like you have a great family.
They're awesome.
Yeah. And what I love about that story, too, is it relates back to the show and how relatable the show is and how it feels like a real family. Is that something that really drew you into to do the show, too?
Yeah, I mean, for me, when I look at a script, I think about the man that I'm playing, the character, and I think, can I pull this off? And yeah, I saw myself as Jack. And then I saw this strong family unit that was, they have an adopted son, they have a plus-size daughter, they have a son who felt neglected, but he's incredibly successful. And I was just drawn in by the magic of how did these three kids turn out as they are in adulthood by their upbringing, and then I start reflecting about my own upbringing, and that's been the biggest conversation I've had with people that love the show. Like, I feel like this show breaks people open and forces them to look at their own lives and look at their own families and look at their own relationships and make a decision to be better, to be good, to be kinder, to be loving, to be a little more compassionate, to listen maybe a little bit more during a tough conversation. And that feels good to be a part of it. For whatever state of the world, for whatever side of the, spectrum or the scale you sit in life, putting good out in the world feels good. Mm-hmm. It feels really good. So to be a part of something that is inherently good and inspirational and hopeful, it's exciting to show up every day and do that.
Yeah, that's great. And I want to touch on the fact that This Is Us is kind of like a Reddit show right now with all the theories about how Jack dies.
Yeah.
It's like Game of Thrones or something. Is it weird for you to be a part of a show that has all these fans theorizing about what could happen in the future?
I'm waiting for, like, he got abducted by aliens or something. But then, like, no, there were no aliens in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, whenever it is that Jack died.
And I do want to touch on that you're not just a star on This Is Us. You do a lot on the side. You're also a producer.
Yeah.
If everyone didn't know that. You had a Crackle series that you also starred in.
Yes,
Chosen.
I did. Yeah. So 15 years ago, I started directing for Warner Brothers, doing commercial campaigns for them, stuff like that, which kind of turned into setting up a production company. And we kind of cut our teeth, my partner, Russ and I, we cut our teeth on digital entertainment. It was just something that felt attainable and something that we could put together. And I saw all these talented writers and directors and actors that just weren't working. And I thought to myself, well, why don't I just put them all together and make something cool that I would watch and that I would like? And so we started getting one project and then two, and then it turned into more. And, you know, there's Chosen and the Pet Squad Files, which is the Paranormal and Extraterrestrial Squad Files on CW. It's like Reno 911 meets Ghost Hunters. It's absolutely ridiculous, but it's fun. And then Relationship Status, which we did one season. We got picked up for a second and third season on Verizon Go 90. So, I mean, any of these things, and then, like, movies. We've made movies and comic books and other TV shows that we've sold that have never been shot and made. But for me, it's an outlet to be creative in a business sense and to create jobs. You know, I mean, it's tough enough in Hollywood when, you know, you're putting yourself out there and you're putting your art out there and you're really wanting to just work, but someone has to really give you the job. Yeah. You know, this was a little more, all right, well, I'm just going to go create work. I'm going to go create jobs. I'm just going to do it. And I don't care what anybody says that I can't do it. No, I'm going to go do it. Yeah. So the idea, if there's a roadblock, you got to find a way to go over it, around it, or at times, fuck it, go through it.
Yeah. And, you know, you haven't really had a problem finding a job, though, have you?
No, there's been moments. I've actually absolutely had moments where I was going to cash everything in and just move to Italy and work on a farm, shave my head, grow a beard or something.
Hey.
But it's tough. It's tough when, you know, Hollywood is a business. But I look at myself as an artist, you know, just a creative guy who just wants to be a part of telling stories and making something that, you know, everyone will enjoy, including my mom and dad and my friends. But it's hard. It takes a toll on you when you turn into someone who's promoting your art, like really trying to promote your art. It's hard to be a cheerleader for something, you know, that you are that attached to. And if people don't see it the same way and letting all that go, I'm getting way too deep. You guys don't want to hear this stuff.
I think it's very interesting. But I have to mention a little character called Jess from Gilmore Girls.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
Everyone would kill me if I didn't.
That guy, Jess, and his pompadour and leather jackets and smart brain.
It was so cool to see you back on Gilmore Girls. That was awesome. How was it for you? And tell us, are you Rory Gilmore's father?
No. I'll start there. No.
Baby daddy.
No. It is not Jess's baby.
Damn.
I know. I feel like everybody's like, man, come on. But what if he came out with a pompadour and a leather jacket and a smart brain? Yeah. Then maybe it would be. But it was fun. It was great. I mean, being on that show, I felt like that was the show that raised me. I was 24, 25 when I signed on, and then I did a bunch of seasons after the fact. And when I got the phone call from Amy and Dan, the producers, saying, hey, we're coming back, I was like, yeah, great. I'll be there. I'm always going to be there for them because they are really, really, really behind and passionate behind. They get behind the work that they put out to the world. Like that Gilmore world, those producers care and love all the fans that love that show so much. Like they do it for the work. They do it for the creativity. They don't do it for any other reason, you know? So to be asked to be a part, I was like, yeah, of course I'll show up. I'll be there. And it was fun.
Will there be more Gilmore episodes?
I don't know. I had dinner with Dan and Amy this week. And funny, we didn't actually talk about Gilmore at all. We were like talking about Japan and books and music and things like that.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was great. They're awesome. They're amazing people.
But we all want more Gilmore Girls, right? We got to know what happened.
But also, like, I kind of feel like,
it is a good ending, too. It could go either way.
It is a good ending, but also, you know, I mean, if you really think about it, Gilmore, I was 24 when I signed on to the show, so that's like 16 years ago. As an actor, you constantly want to evolve. I don't know if you guys noticed, but every job that I play, I change my appearance. I mean, I change my appearance every decade in this show, but I'm constantly trying to evolve and grow, and I think when you have a show that is so far in the past, like over a decade in the past, to visit it once, hey, it's a blast. You see some old friends, you jump into the shoes and the leather jacket of an old character, but then you're like, all right, cool, we gave you that last slice of pie. I'm going to go back to this other show I have called This Is Us and the other gigs that I'm working on. Yeah. So I think as much as I would love for audiences to have more, it's also, guys, just accept what you got, and that you got a little bit more, which is awesome. Not everybody gets that. Yeah. I mean, unless you're, you know, Arrested Development or any other show that comes back.
We're just living in a sequel world, guys. It's never gonna stop.
New stories,
like This Is Us.
Like This Is Us.
But I want to get some questions from the audience, so let's pass it off. Here we go.
Hi.
Hi, I'm a huge fan.
Thank you. What's your name?
Rachel.
What's up, Rachel? I'm Milo. Nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you. So I was wondering, what is your favorite thing about playing Jack?
I like that he's a good man. I like that he tries his hardest with his family, with his wife. And I like that he has a sense of humor. He tries to be light and inspirational, but just he's an inherently good man. And it doesn't mean that he's perfect. Nobody's perfect. Jack is far from perfect. But he tries real hard. And I love that about him.
And the mustache.
Oh, yeah, and he's got a mustache.
Hey, Milo, nice to meet you.
What's
My
up,
name's Brett.
What's up, Brett? Milo, how you doing?
Fan,
Thank
fan
you.
as well.
Nice to meet you, man.
So I'd imagine, like, you're an actor yourself, and you can really relate to Justin's character a lot. And you were talking about those phases of your life where, you had times where you wanted to, like, throw in the towel, like it was frustrating. So especially where we are with Justin's character now, if you could, like, give him some advice, like, how to get past, like, this exact problem he's having.
I think Miguel nailed it with the advice, so Jack didn't need to. Me, myself, though, like, first of all, how great is Justin? He's incredible. I think he as an actor has one of the hardest jobs on the show. I mean, he's beautiful. Yeah. He's rich. He's famous. Who feels bad for that guy? But you love him. You love Kevin and what he's going through and the journey that he's on. It's tough. It is tough because in the business, you have to make money so you can eat and have a roof over your head and clothes on your back and all that kind of good stuff. But then you want to be an artist and you want to be creative and you want to tell inspiring stories and things like that. So I totally understand Kevin's dilemma of, man, I'm not going to breastfeed a baby because that's just ridiculous. Guys, we should expect more of ourselves. And I think he even says that in the pilot. But I don't know, the advice that I would always say is just be yourself. Always be yourself. Like later on in my career, or actually like the last couple years of the 21 I've been in, God, I feel like I'm doing jail time.
21, wow.
Yeah, I know. But like some of these meetings and readings that I would go on where I'm like trying to audition for a role and I'm sitting with, some people at a studio and casting director, I'll put on a character to play this character that I read because that's how I view the man that I'm supposed to be auditioning for. And a couple times, these producers or directors or casting directors would say, no, Milo, just be you. We want you. Just be you. And I'm like, okay. Then I'd do it me, and I wouldn't get the job. And it's kind of like, well, okay, I guess they didn't want me. But point being, just being yourself. You are unique enough, and what you bring to the table as an actor, as a performer, should be enough to where people go, oh, wow, this actor or this actress is having a real moment, and they are the character from action to cut.
Yeah. We've definitely seen that with This Is Us, too, with all these incredible actors. Like, Justin was on Passions. He was like, that was my favorite soap opera, guys. I'm so happy for him. And Chrissy,
Chrissy was working in an agency and just kind of like doing some stuff, and Sterling was winning every award that's out there with a golden statue. No, they really are such a remarkable group of people. And playing the patriarch of this family, I kind of feel like a proud father, even though 2 of them are older than me. 3 are older than me. But yeah, it's just, they're really the greatest, kindest group of golden-hearted performers I've come across.
Yes. Who's next?
Hi.
What's up?
My name's Chrissy. Nice
Hi,
to meet
Chrissy.
you.
Nice to meet you. I'm Milo.
Nice to meet you. I'm a very big fan. Also, I love your dress.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
I know, isn't it a beautiful dress?
It is.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. And look at me. I'm in like boots
You
and
look
crap.
beautiful as well. Don't worry.
Thank you. Sweater's soft.
My question is, what characteristics of Jack do you see in yourself, and vice versa?
Well, we got the same chin. We walk the same. No, I try and plug a lot of myself into Jack, but it turns out that Jack puts a lot of himself back into me. It's kind of this circle where, and with an arrows all pointing the same direction, where I'm giving everything that I can of myself to Jack, but Jack keeps giving it all back to me. I get a lot of positive, just happy, smiling people walking up to me, excited by Jack and the character, and they're happy because of that. And then I'm like, well, I kind of put my happiness into Jack, and now you're kind of putting it all back into me, and it's this kind-hearted, inspirational kind of circle that's just, I'm not gonna lie, it's awesome. It's so cool. It's so cool, like being inside this world and like getting to see a bunch of smiling faces all the time, and even when people are like, I sobbed, like an ugly cry, and I'm like, okay, I'm like, can I hug you? Like, yeah, you know. So I don't know. I put everything of myself into Jack, and Jack just gives it all right back to me.
That's great. Well, you're so great on this show, and I love it so much. We have 2 episodes left, correct?
Yes, there are 2. Get ready. Get yourself. Get a watching buddy. Get some food, which you probably won't eat.
Yep.
I don't know. Maybe you want a warm blanket or a puppy. Kleenex, probably mandatory, and yeah, like get ready. It's gonna be a little stressful, guys.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here,
Thank you,
Milo.
Lee.
We've loved having you.
Thank you very much.
guys
Thanks,
so
everyone.
much.
Glad you guys came out.
Bye,
Thank you.
guys.
Thank you.